Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. Today's another tutorial style video and I'm going to be showing you how to make a face mask holder for the concertina style face masks and also how to make the very popular 3D style face mask. So if there is something that you'd like to make for yourself, please stay tuned. Show you the face mask holder then, and it's just a little wallet style design like this, and it's got a snap fastening here, so you open that up, this comes down and you've got two little flaps inside which will just hold the face mask in place. So like I said, this is for the concertina style face mask that you will have seen around. The disposable style are like a light blue kind of colour, although I know people have made their own style as well out of fabric, so I think that this would fit into this wallet as well. And then all you do is literally put the face mask in flat, fold that back up, and then just snap the press stud back together again, and it's a perfect little design to put into your handbag to keep that face mask nice and clean. This design doesn't use hardly any fabric at all, so it's really good for using up some scraps. I'm not going to be taking any credit for this pattern whatsoever. It was kindly gifted to me by my lovely friend Cindy, who lives in Canada. We are great friends on Instagram and regularly communicate. Thank you very much, Cindy, for gifting this pattern for me to show all my viewers. The 3D face mask, you will have seen this design, I'm pretty sure. It is very, very popular, and I have been using this in high rotation for wearing out in shops and that kind of thing. Now again, I can't take credit for this pattern at all. I'll put the link in the description box below from where it originated from, but I actually followed the tutorial on Instagram TV by Marie from the Stitch Odyssey. So if you've not come across her, I'll put her details in the description box below as well. But I thought I'd do a step-by-step tutorial on how to make this in case you aren't on Instagram and haven't come across this one, because it is a really good face mask. So let's get stuck into the tutorial then. Okay, so firstly we're going to make the holder, and I used some quilting cotton from Fat Quarters that I had, so that's a perfect sort of size to be able to make this from. You could actually make several from them. I think it really doesn't use up very much fabric at all. So like I said, Cindy has kindly gifted me the pattern, so this is what it looks like here, and she's given the instructions on the front. So what I'm going to try and do is either put a link down below to the actual pattern, or I will put the dimensions down along with the instructions on how to make it, so I'll just see what works really. So you will need to cut two of this out of your fabric. Now I have used two different fabrics, so for the outer and then a different one for the inner as well. You will also need a snap fastener, so you will need a male and female section which look like this, and then the backs for those as well, if you can see those. And then to attach those you will need a pair of Vario pliers, which looks like this, and you can get these from most haberdashery places. I got mine from Guthrie and Garney in Birmingham, and I think they are about £15, so they're not cheap, but they're a fantastic tool. Okay, so when you have your pattern pieces cut out, you need to put them right sides together, and then just leave a gap here from where you're going to be turning this right sides out. So I put my pins sticking out like that, and then I've just pinned around the rest as per normal. So we're going to be stitching around the edge with a 1 centimetre seam allowance, and just making sure we don't obviously close that section there, because that's where we're going to be turning it right sides out. So I'll go ahead and do that and then come back. Okay, so I have now sewn all the way around, leaving that gap there, as you can see. And we're now going to be turning this right sides out. And I like to use a chopstick just so that I can get the corners nice and sharp. Now I did cut down the seam allowances just very slightly, and I cut the corners off at an angle as well, just so the corners come out nice and sharp. So I should just point these out. Okay, so that's now all turned through. You'll see that you do have the raw edges there, but now what you're going to do is go over to your iron and just fold those in slightly, and then just give the whole of the holder a good press all the way around. So I shall go ahead and do that, and then we're going to top stitch all the way around. Okay, so that's now nicely pressed. And so that raw edge is hidden inside, and as we're going to be top stitching all the way around, that will secure that in place. So I'm going to be just top stitching just quite close to the edge, just your usual preferred distance really, but I'm using a guide on my foot. I'm just using my clear foot on my machine at the moment, and there's just a nice little guide on that one that I tend to have, and that just sort of is the right amount, but I think it's 1/8 of an inch that it is top stitching at, so I'll go ahead and do that and come back. Okay, so that's nicely top stitched then all the way around, and this is where you decide which is going to be your inner and which is going to be your outer. So I am going to have the this side as my outer, and then what you now need to do is, once you've decided which is your outside, you just need to fold in, if you can see this, the long edges just so they are slightly in from the flap. So if I show you how far I'm bringing that in, just slightly like that. Now there are pattern markings on the pattern itself where you do need to fold it into, but I think that is a rough gauge. I haven't put the markings on mine, but you could on yours. So that is where you need to fold it into on both sides, and just give that a good press with the iron. Okay, so they are nicely ironed in place. Now what you're going to do next is literally just top stitch down here along this fold, and that will just help to keep those sort of folded in. So you just top stitch literally right next to this edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance again. So I shall go ahead and do that. Okay, so I have now top stitched right down that edge on both sides, so you can see that the flap, it does stay in place a lot better. And then what you're going to do is fold this so that the bottom comes up to literally the top of that there. And then you'll see that the flap will go over there. So if you just give that a quick press with the iron, so you just get that folded, and then you can decide where the snap positioning needs to be. Okay, so I've given mine a lovely press, so you can see that that has folded up nicely, and I've just pressed over the flap as well. And now I just need to decide where I need to position my snap fasteners. So for the top part of the snap, okay, so when you come to put the snap fasteners on, the flat round piece needs to actually be on the front, obviously. So I like to fold over the flap and then sort of see where I'm going to position it, and just give it a bit of a press so it makes an indent. So you don't want to press it too hard so it goes all the way through, but it just makes a little indent. So it's made an indent on mine there, so I know that that's where I'm going to push it through. The hole, make a hole, so it just goes through quite easily. And then you need to decide which you're going to have. So I usually have the male one on the top, and you just put that onto the sticky out pointed bit on the inside, and get your vario pliers, and then the flat round bit needs to go onto that white bit, and then the male section you will be pressing that in using the clear section there. So just give it a really good squeeze to make sure that that is secure. So that is now on, nice and secure for you. And then for deciding for where the position needs to go, again, I just fold it back up, fold that back over, give it a bit of a press so that it makes, again, a little indent in the fabric, just so I can see roughly. It's made a very slight indent. You probably won't be able to see that, but I can see roughly where I need the back of the snap to come out. So, and you want the round one like that. It will be going on the inside, and then you put the female bit onto the sticky out pointy bit, and again put your white section onto the flat one, and then the clear one goes onto the one that you need to squash. So again, give it a good squash down, and there, that's in securely. So when you fold this back up, you will then be able to just snap it closed. And there we are. that is it, all complete. So you can see that that is a really nice, quick and easy project, just so you can make a nice little holder to keep your face mask clean. Okay, so now we're going to make the 3D face mask then. And it is just 2 pattern pieces that you need for this. So firstly, you need a 9 by 5 centimetre rectangle, and you need to cut 2 of those. And then you need a 22 by 11 centimetre rectangle also, and you will notice that this has got diagonal slants. Now to get that, all you need to do is fold your 22 by 11 centimetre rectangle in half, and from the corner that you will have up here, you need to measure 2.5 centimetres down, and again from the bottom 2.5 centimetres up to there, and then draw a line from that point to the edge on both the top and the bottom, and then you will get this sort of diamond shaped pattern piece. You can see that mine has been very well used. And then you need to cut 4 of those out of your fabric. Now the design that I have decided to do is very similar to this style here, and I have got a different fabric for the nose covering and the chin covering just here. So to have that effect, you need to cut 2 of the main fabric here and 2 of the contrasting fabric there. So 4 pieces in all. So 2 for the main piece of the mask, and then 2 for the nose and the chin sections. You can do it all in one fabric, that's absolutely fine obviously, but if you just want to play around with making some fun face masks, then that's the way to do it. So I will go ahead and cut my pattern pieces out and then come back. Okay, so for my design, I have decided to use this flower fabric for the main body of the mask, and then I'm going to be using this contrasting stripe fabric for the nose and chin sections. So I've also cut out that little rectangle in the outer fabric. So firstly, we're going to take our nose and chin sections, and we're going to fold those in half lengthways so that the points meet at the top, and you're just going to press that into place on both of those sections. Okay, so next you need to take your main body of your face mask, take one of those sections, and then you're going to place that right side up. Then take one of the folded sections and you're going to put that on top so that the points match up on the top there, like that. And then you're going to take the other face mask section and put that right sides down on top of that. So you are creating like a sandwich really, and I'm just going to pin that in place. Okay, so that's pinned in place like a sandwich. So that stripy section is inside, and I'm just going to turn it around, and then I'm going to flip one down like that, and I'm going to put the other stripy section on top there. So I'm just going to flip the other piece out of the way, and then take that stripy section, pop that along the top, again lining up with the point at the top, and then I'm just going to flip that main body of the face mask over the top, again creating that sandwich, and then just pin across the top of there as well. I just find it easier to do it that way around. Now you just need to stitch along the long edges using a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance or 1 centimetre seam allowance along the long edges on both sides, and then if you could also cut the seam allowances off and also just put a little notch where the point is, so when you turn that through that's nice and sharp. Okay, so I've cut the seam allowances off, and you can see that I've got a little triangle there just where the point is, so that will be nice and sharp. And then you just now need to turn it right sides out. Okay, so when you've turned it right sides out, you'll see that you have the flaps at the bottom end of each of the face mask, and then you just need to press them around to one side, so they will be like this on one side, and then you'll have it like that on the other side. So give that a good press and just slightly roll the main fabric round to the other side very slightly. So I should go ahead and do that. Okay, so that is nicely pressed. And now we are just going to top stitch down the long edges using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, just so it holds those flaps in place. So I shall go ahead and just top stitch down those long edges. Okay, so that has now been top stitched all the way along. So you'll see that that has secured those in place quite nicely. Now the next thing to do is take your short rectangle pieces that you cut out earlier, and then what you will need to do is actually place the face up face mask on top of one right side up like this. So you just need to kind of place it into the middle, and I just sort of gauge it so it's at the back there, that's face up, and you just place it at the top there, and then you just need to stitch along there at 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimetre seam allowance, and you need to do that on both sides. So I'm just going to pin that one into place. So again, I'll show you, just turning it so it's face up facing you, right side up facing you, and then you take your face up little rectangle section, place that on top, at the top like that, so it's at the back, and then just pin that in place. And then stitch along there at 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimetre seam allowance. Once you've done that, if you just cut away any pesky threads, and then what you're going to do is actually push that up, and you want to press that with your iron and create a crease, and then you need to also fold this down just by about 3/8 of an inch as well, just slightly over there, so the top section there, and then press that. And then when you have done that, if you fold in the edges so they are flush there, and give that a press on both sides, so that will come in as well. So you'll have a fold at the top, and then you'll fold the sides in as well, and give that a press. And then when you've done that, I will show you how to insert the elastic. So I should just go ahead and press that up, so that goes up, fold that down, press that, and then press the sides in. So I should do that on both sides and come back. Okay, apologies if you can hear the rain on the roof. It's just started raining quite heavily, so hopefully it's not interfering too much. So I've now folded that in. So you can see I folded the edges in, and I folded it along the top as well. And then I've also just pressed that over like that, and just given it a quick press, because that is where we're actually going to insert the elastic, and then we are going to stitch this into place. So I've done that on the top and the bottom, so they are now ready. Now for this one, I have actually used some elastic hairbands, and these were quite stretchy ones, and they fit me, you know, quite fine. I do have quite a small head though, so if you find that hairbands are too small, then just use elastic and just do it to your sort of measurement that you require. I have actually ran out of elastic bands myself, so I have actually made my own elastic out of some very thin elastic, so that's what I'm going to be using for this face mask. So what you need to do is take your face mask, pop your elastic in, so I want that not to be hidden, so I'm going to pop that just in the crease there, and then I will be folding that over it, so you have your elastic like that, and I'm just going to top stitch that into place there, so that will secure the elastic in place, and I'm going to do that on both sides, so literally just top stitching across here, making sure that you're going through to the other side obviously. Yes, that's what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I shall come back. Okay, so now I have the elastic all attached, and I just top stitched literally along the edge there, so that's all done. Just cut off any pesky threads, and then what you need to do is pull these out, and then I like to fold the actual face mask in half, having those pulled out like that, and then I like to give it a really good press like that. So I'll just go ahead and do that and then come back. Okay, so I've had to move location because the rain is just horrendous and you're not going to be able to hear a word I say otherwise. But yes, I have actually now ironed that nice and crisp, so you can see that it's formed the shape of the 3D mask. So it is really easy then to put on. I keep it folded like that in my handbag, and then you're just able to pop it on like that, and then the chin piece will be underneath and the nose thing over the top, so it's just really easy. Yeah, so it's a really nice easy pattern to make, Really happy with that. So another one to add to my collection. And then, you know, here is the finished little wallet. So I really do hope that you found this tutorial helpful and informative, and do let me know if you go ahead and make any for yourself. I'd really be interested to know how you got on. I will try and link all of the details in the description box below for you, so you have everything that you need to make each of these, and fingers crossed you get on okay. So thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you again soon. Bye.